10 Cats does Countdown Christmas Special. John Richardson, John Locke, Sarah Milliken, David Mitchell, David O'Doherty, Susie Finn, Rachel Riley, and your host, Jimmy Carr.
Hello and welcome to the 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown Christmas Special, a show all about letters, numbers, conundrums, and of course, Christmas. OK, let's meet tonight's players. First up, it's team captain John Richardson. John is a real Christmas cracker because if you pull him, you'll get a very disappointing bang.
Do you know, I feel honoured as well, because I think when you wrote that joke, you probably thought, I could do that for anyone, and you picked me. I'm really grateful that you think I'm the worst lay in the room.
I'm really grateful as well.
OK, and joining John tonight, it's Sarah Milliken. Sarah is from near Newcastle, and when you think about it, the Christmas story couldn't be any more Geordie. After all, it's the story of an unmarried mum with a homeless man who turns out not to be the father, sleeping in a shed surrounded by animals. You don't get much more Geordie than that.
Fair enough.
OK, up against him this evening is Sean Locke.
Thank you.
If you've ever wondered what it'd be like if the Grinch had a baby with Scrooge, here he is. And Sean's teammate, David Mitchell. David Mitchell, he's one of the few men in Britain for whom the garish novelty Christmas jumper is a step up fashion-wise.
I think I'm wearing a very normal shirt. Wouldn't you say? Is this not normal? Is this not normal?
Well, it's a bit too close to your skin tone, so if you just glance at you, it looks like you're naked and you've got no nipples.
Oh, it looks like you're having a strip wash at a sink. At a service station.
OK, Sarah, how do you get into the Christmas spirit?
It's hard because it seems to be earlier each year. And obviously when you're self-employed, like we all are, you can't, you don't have a Christmas do. So I tend to just feel myself up in the stationery cupboard.
How much stationery do you have? Is it a special room?
There's no such thing as too much.
Also, I can see John is thinking, how tidy is it?
Oh, it's not as tidy as you'd like, Flower, but it is neat. It's good. You've got to be able to go and get what size post-its you need, whatever time.
A lot of people, they'll grab a Post-it note like that, up, and that's why they bend upwards. If you pull them from the sides, they stay flat when you put them up.
Wow, what a Christmas gift you've given us all.
I know.
What a boring Christmas gift. John, could you talk me through the outfit this evening? What have you got on?
It's a suit, Jimmy. You're familiar with the suit?
Sure.
You've gone a different way with it, though. You've gone, if I may say, very corporate. That's a suit for the man. This is a suit for all the world.
You must give me the number of your tailor.
He's still working off a pager. I can put you in touch with a guy.
It's riding up at the back of it, John.
Is it?
You need to pull it down a bit.
I bet I look bloody stupid for a minute.
David, have you been naughty or nice this year?
I've been superficially nice and non-sexually naughty.
It's just the kind of complete answer I expect from you.
Thank you.
Sean, what would you change about Christmas?
Loads of things, loads. I'd change the name of it. I'd change it to Winter Fun Time. And also, the other thing I'd like to do, I think Christmas happens too often. If it was like the World Cup and it happened every 4 years, I think that would be better. You'd get really excited. Oh, it's Christmas. And you'd have, you know, it'd be in different countries, like the World Cup, every year. So, this year, the World Cup's in Italy. And you either go to Italy for Christmas or you watch it on a big screen down your local pub. You know, and they have, like, a drawer where they pull Brussels sprouts out of a thing and they go, and this year the World Cup will be in Saudi Arabia. No, not the World Cup. This year, Christmas. I don't need to tell you how to do your job, do I? This year, the World Cup will be in Saudi Arabia.
World Cup again?
this year, Christmas will be in Saudi Arabia.
Now it sounds like you're weirdly into Christmas being in Saudi Arabia.
OK, Sarah, have you got a mascot?
So, this is directly off my Christmas tree. Something I made when I was 6.
Oh.
And I think, because I'm potentially not going to be very good at the show, at least I'll know that I was good at something once.
So, Santa, is he depressed?
Jimmy's got a point. There's something mournful about his sort of eyes.
Now I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
If you
they're great.
Oh, I can't believe you fucking spoilt my tongue.
It looks a bit like a tampon.
How big is your fanny? I'm sure I could fit that up mine.
John, have you got a mascot?
Yes, I have. Well, we all know that the true spirit of Christmas is brandy. To enhance the experience for me, I've planned a number of countdown-themed cocktails that I'm going to drink throughout the show, and I think I'll have more fun that way. So this is a vegan snowball, or if you like, a no-ball. Or vegnog, if you will. And it's a bit of coconut cream in place of the egg. That looks delicious, doesn't it?
Oh.
And in honour of your teeth, Jimmy, I've had that artificially whitened. And then the brandy goes in. Oh. I'll do it all like Nigella. I'll do it all sexy. Sometimes a bit comes out.
Oh, well, you've ruined Christmas.
And you pop the lid on there. Feels quite loose, that lid, given that I'm about to shake it.
Oh!
Look, you're so masculine, John, the way you shake.
And this is a special cocktail shaker that when the cocktail's ready, it gives you a little sign. There we go. That mixture, you just pour that into your glass there. Ooh, bit of tremors there. That's fine, though.
Vegnog.
It's only because I haven't had one yet today.
Wow. Have you made enough for everyone? Oh, I like this cocktail. It's lumpy.
Pop a bit of lemonade in there.
It's like Tom Cruise in that film, isn't it?
Yeah. Top Gun. That's your no ball. Have a little bit now. Gritty.
Very good. OK, more cocktails later. David, have you got a mascot?
Yes. Yes, I've got... this is a fascinating document that
OK.
I'd like to share with you. I'm very proud of it. This is my... it's my family tree. Traces my lineage all the way back to a man called Egbert the serial killer. And this is put together for me by a genealogy firm called You Needn't Think You're All That Genealogy. In the wake of... there's been a lot of interest in genealogy, particularly in the wake of Danny Dyer discovering he's descended from, I think it was Edward III. And obviously a lot of us are descended from kings and queens. Statistically, it's overwhelmingly likely that we're all descended from William the Conqueror. And it's making people get a bit above themselves and thinking they're a bit royal and a bit special. And so this is a firm dedicated to showing, you know, all the real arseholes we're also descended from, you know. And I think it's a fun and historically interesting way of reminding us how contemptible humanity is.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sean, have you got a mascot?
Yes, I do, Jimmy. Following the enormous success of my bespoke voucher books, I thought I'd bring back a Christmas selection of vouchers, which, you know, I think anybody would be delighted to receive. This one, for example, is to rescind a pensioner's bus pass. You can just nip in front of a pensioner as they're getting onto the bus, hand that in, and they've got to cough up some of that hard-earned money they want sitting on a house for 40 fucking years. You could design the kits for England's football team for the next tournament. How about Ugg boots and a cape? The FA have said they'll honour that. I know what my... I know what my granddad would love. A chance to host the Mobo Award. Well, this one's a bit odd. Third off number 7 products and boots. Don't know how it got in there. So how about this one? Have any adult relative jailed for 3 weeks. We don't need that.
Sure luck, everyone. Right, over in Dictionary Corner, it's David O'Doherty. David, have you got any heroes?
I mean, the obvious ones. Enya. In Ireland, I'm known as the hairy Enya. And then, obviously, the big guy is, everyone will know, I think my ultimate hero, him, the emergency exits man. Like, he's at all my gigs, always at the back, and it's just an amazing tale where he came from, because originally he just did the toilet doors. And then it's a sad story, because he trained for months to do the emergency exits, and that night he went out for a few drinks, and he ended up at McDonald's at 3 in the morning, and the floor was wet, and, like, he slipped right out. He spent time in a wheelchair after that, and then just as he was getting back, he was jogging around by the coast, and there'd been heavy rain the night before, and the cliff, there were rocks, and... But he's back now, he works on the roads, so it's an amazing tale.
And with David O'Doherty, of course, it's Susie Dent. As an author of 14 books all about the origins of words and phrases, Susie's put more things to sleep than a vet on Boxing Day. Susie, what's the strangest present you've ever received?
Not much about strange presents. Rachel and I have a tradition where I give her a copy of one of my books, which she's delighted, and she sends me strange cards involving pets, normally, like this one, and they're occasionally topless owners.
She's a sex pest.
Whoa!
And in charge of the numbers, it's Rachel Riley. Rachel, if you had to spend Christmas with one of us, who would it be?
I think there's only one obvious choice for someone who loves vegan cocktails. It's got to be Sean.
Who wouldn't? Everything about me just sweats Christmas.
OK, the prize the teams will be competing for tonight is this, the Countdown Christmas Dog Outfits. OK, let's count down, everyone. John, what's a good cocktail for a letters round?
Well, I have a letters-based cocktail. It's called an 18-pointer, because it consists of 9 letters. And you won't know this, but if you get 9 on the show, it's worth 18 points. That was worth explaining, because it's probably never happened to anyone else. So, the 9 letters are G, a little bit of G in there.
Can I have a cherry?
You want my cherry?
It's taken me.
Oh, you're such a man. G, T, J, D. I'll do it all Nigella. I'm just unsheathing the booze. Just peeling it back there. Bit of JD in there to go with the G and T. I thought we'd need some vowels, so there's 2 J's and an O there. Finally, some XO brandy there, just to pop that in. And then you mix it all up. I need to get a good firm grip on the top of it, I think.
Right.
Oh, it's going
No,
all
the
over
people
me.
are...
It feels like the harder I shake it, the more it shoots all over me, Jim.
I've never met Sexy John before.
And there is an 18-pointer. It looks lovely, doesn't it? I think the more it looks like urine, the tastier it is.
He needs cherry, doesn't he?
Oh, it does
Do you
need
want
a
one of my
cherry.
cherries?
I'll take one of your cherries, Sean. Thanks very much, mate.
OK, on with the game. John, Sarah, you're to pick the letters.
Can we have a vowel, please?
Thank you,
Start with?
Sarah. A.
And a consonant?
N.
And another consonant?
G.
Another consonant?
P.
And a vowel, please?
I.
And a consonant?
D.
And another consonant?
S.
Vowel, please?
O.
And another consonant, please, Rachel.
And the last one.
T. Thanks, love.
And for the first time today, here's the countdown clock.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our gay apparel. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. La 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 la.
I missed it. The Countdown Gospel Choir, everyone! John, how many?
7.
7. OK. Sarah, how many?
6.
6, OK. David?
6, but a Christmassy 6.
And we know that counts for double?
I believe that's the rules.
Sure. Sean?
7.
OK.
7, and I'd just like to say Happy Christmas to everyone. I hope you have a really great seasonal experience.
That was very heartfelt. It's quite beautiful, actually, Sean.
Yeah.
Quite beautiful.
I'm in the M&S commercial this year, isn't it? When I open my front door and all the flies come out my mouth.
Sarah, you're 6.
Taping.
David, you're Christmassy 6, and this better be
Six.
Christmassy.
Pantos.
Oh, come on, that is pretty Christmassy.
That'd be the winner.
Pantos. Sean, you're 7.
Pasting.
Pasting. And John, you're 7.
Well, I put an S on yours for tapings.
Bugger.
I don't like the fact she's looking it up, though.
Is it in there? Is it in there?
No.
How did they do that effect? How did they...
Pint after pint of flies. Like 60 pints of flies.
So at the end of that, Sean and David are in the lead with 7. 7 points. David, Susie, could they have done any better?
Susie found an 8th-letter word there, which was adopting.
OK. On to our first numbers round. Sean, David, you're picking the numbers.
I'll have the usual, please.
The Shawnee Festive Special.
The Shawnee Festive Special.
We've got 7, 3, 10, 7, 25 and 75. And the target, 834.
Your time starts now. So the target was 834. Did you get it, Sarah?
No.
Oh.
When I watch it at home, I always get it. But that's because I pause it. And it can take me 20 minutes, but I bloody get it.
OK. John?
I got 830.
830, OK. David?
I didn't complete an attempt.
Sean, did you do it?
Yeah.
Please, how did you do it?
7 over 7 is 1.
7 over 7 is 1.
Yeah. Add the 10.
11.
And then you do that onto the 75. And then all you got to do then is what you're left with, isn't it? It's, you have the other 7.
You'd watch other 7.
Sorry,
It's almost as if you're making this up as you go along.
So, John, how did you get to 8:30?
Well, I did 75 plus 7
75 plus 7, 82.
times by 10,
820.
and then I added the 7 and the 3. But what I should have done is taken that off the 25, and then I got 835. But it's just a game. I haven't even got a dog, so I couldn't give a shit whether I won. 830.
And 7 points to John. Rachel, could it be done?
Leave it with me.
OK, so both teams have 7 points. OK, time to go across the Dictionary Corner. What have you got for us?
This year I've overcome my greatest fear, and this may be traumatic for some people. I grew up in an old house, and once a year a mouse would appear in the most horrific possible place. Once in my pillow, hiya! Once in breakfast cereal. And it was the era where, like, you'd be like, is there a toy? Hiya! And it was my second bowl. So we paid a man 400 euros just to do whatever needed to be done. We didn't talk, it was the closest I'll ever get to a mafia-style phone conversation where I'm just like, I have a problem and I need it to go away. And he's like, it will be done. Sometime later, there was an issue in the house with the plumbing. There was a drip, like slow, low water pressure in the taps. And the plumber came and he said, some time ago, did you have a mouse problem in this house? And I thought, oh shit, I don't like where this is going. And he said, so they put down a chemical that dehydrates the mice. And they go outside to search for water, but if they can't find a way outside, they smell water in the water tanks in the attic, make their way up, dive in and drown. And over the course of the next 6 months of the tank filling and emptying, the nutrients are washed from their bodies till they're just skeletons. And then they sink to the bottom and get sucked into the top of the pie. That's all it was. That's what he said. That's all it was. So I said, are you telling me that every cup of tea I've had has been mouse juice? No, you idiots. That's the freshwater pipe. This would just be showering and brushing your teeth. Oh, that's But it turns out, in trying to come to terms with this awful news, I don't think I'm scared of mice anymore. Probably because I am now at least 80% mouse.
Rachel, remember the numbers round earlier on that you didn't manage to get? Have you got it now?
Yeah, I've got it now.
OK, so how was it done?
So 75 minus 7 times 10 plus 25 minus 3 times the other 7. Obviously.
Rachel Riley, everyone, with a match. Well done. And here is your teaser. The words are ice dong, and the clue is you can crack it. That's ice dong, you can crack it. See you after the break. Welcome back. The answer to the teaser, the words were iced dong, and the clue was you can crack it. It was, of course, decoding. OK, on with the game. They've been playing in teams so far, but this game is just for John and David. So, David, your turn to choose the letters.
OK, but I'll go for a consonant to start with.
Ah.
I'm screwed. Vowel, please.
U.
Vowel, please.
E.
Consonant, please.
V.
Vowel, please.
I.
Consonant, please.
T.
Vowel, please.
A.
Consonant, please.
S.
And consonant, thank you.
And C, you're welcome.
OK, and your time starts now.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's Christmas dinner.
Looks like in my M&S advert. Looks like the one.
Do you bring that out while the flies are coming out?
No, that's when all the I sneeze and all the maggots come out and they eat the turkey. You know that bit?
Yeah.
That's my favourite bit.
That's everyone's favourite bit of the advert.
John, how many?
A 6, but a festive 6.
Ooh. David?
A not particularly festive 5.
Right, what's your 5?
Crust.
John, what was your 6-letter word?
Calves.
Calves.
Oh, yeah, good.
Christmassy.
The turkey.
6 points to John.
I got a 7.
You won. You've got what? I know you're not playing, but even so, what did you get?
Cursive?
Oh, lovely.
Cursive is excellent. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not playing, but...
But even so, cursive.
Can I get a point?
Yeah.
You'd like to give them the points because it's Christmas?
No, absolutely
You could at least let me get the round of applause.
You get the round of
I did
applause.
get points for that. Now they don't want to do it now. Fuck you.
David, Susie, could they have done any better?
Susie got a 9-letter word.
Yeah, if you're ill after eating your turkey, you can take a curative and you can put the S on that.
Susie Dent. Curative. Right, time now for Sean and Sarah to go head-to-head. John, what's a good cocktail for a maths round?
Well, to help Sarah, I'm going to drink a numbers-based cocktail. It's called One from the Top and Any Other 5 Alive. The one from the top, of course, is Mad Dog 2020. Now, I know 20 and 20 is 40, which isn't a countdown number, but this is aged for 10 years on the window of an off licence. This is vintage. It's been right out in the sun. It was passion fruit flavour when they put it on there. All the colours bleached out. And a slug of 5 Alive in there. I've given up even just stirring it now, to be honest. Just shit it straight in there.
Oh, my God. Did you know that was going to happen?
No. Oh, my goodness gracious. If Usain Bolt was here now, I'd challenge him to a race.
OK, Sarah, your pick of the numbers.
Can I have one from the top and then...
One from the top and any other 5.
And any other 5?
One large and 5 little. Right, your little ones are 6, 7, 9, 10 and 5, and the big one 50.
Ooh.
And the target 754.
OK, and your time starts now.
Santa baby, sleep a sable under the tree for me. I've been an awful good girl, Santa baby. Hurry down the chimney tonight, Santa baby. A 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby. Hurry down the chimney tonight, Santa baby. Hurry down the chimney tonight.
The Countdown Gospel Choir, everyone. Sarah, did you get it?
No, I didn't.
Sean, did you get it?
Yes!
We'll talk us through. How'd you do it?
10 plus 5
It's
is 15. Times 50.
750.
And then if you take 7 away from 9, you get 2.
Yep.
And you take that off of 6, you get a 4.
You do indeed.
Ah,
Lovely.
well done.
10 points to Sean. OK, so John and Sarah have 13, Sean and David have 17. Time to go across once again to Dictionary Corner. David, what have you got for us?
Well, gospel choir, look and learn. Time for some music. Let's go. A year older, you know, wiser. Age ain't nothing but a number, but it's also a very accurate barometer of how old you are. And I'm not a millennial. I'm the one before that. Tudor, it's called. It's fine. It just annoys me when the kids are like, oh, life's so complicated now. David, it was much easier when you were growing up. Because the world is complicated, but it's always been pretty complicated. In some ways, it's easier now than it was in the old days. Like now, you're out, you see someone you like, you can just track them down using creepy Facebook book triangulation, you know? You couldn't do that in the past. In the past, you used to have to guess her father's first name and the road she probably lived on and get a thing called the phone book, which doesn't even exist anymore. It was like someone had printed out the internet, but it only listed men, because only men were allowed to own phones until, remember the referendum in 1994, should women be allowed to own phones? And Susie, I was always an ally. Let them gossip. That's what I said. My niece is 12, and she just got her first phone, taking pictures of everything. I was trying to explain to her how complex the art of photography used to be. You used to have to get a thing called a camera. She said, could you phone it? You could phone no one on a camera. You couldn't even take pictures on it. You had to get another thing called film, and you didn't just throw it in the back. You had to toggle it in away from direct sunlight like you were Thomas Edison. She's like, yeah, but then you got infinity photos. No, you got 12, 24, or 36. You wouldn't waste a photo. You wouldn't be like, here's my dinner, here's my face. You'd wait for newsworthy shit to happen till a dead mermaid was washed up on the beach. And even then, you'd take one, and you'd be like, well, I hope that comes out. Because it'll change the course of history. The old days.
And here is your teaser. The words are Sly Santa. The clue is he's checking it twice. That's Sly Santa. He's checking it twice. See you after the break. Welcome back. The answer to the teaser, the words were Sly Santa. The clue was he's checking it twice. It was, of course, analysts. OK, before we go on, he's not on the show anymore, but he keeps on turning up. It's Joe Wilkinson. Woo! Hi, Joe.
Hi, Jimmy, all right?
Have you been overindulging over the Christmas period?
A little bit, yeah.
Out of interest, why are you naked?
Right. That's the weirdest thing, Jimmy. All my clothes have shrunk, so I can't fit anything. The reason I'm here, I bought some presents for everyone. Fabio, do you want to bring the presents on, mate? Remember my half-brother, Fabio? Oh, yeah. He's been overindulging a bit as well, but when he puts weight on, he just gets really long nipples. Right, should we do the presents? Yeah, go on. Right, so Jimmy, got you a box of Terry's Nougat. No, I've eaten them. Susie, well, you got your tin of right. No, same issue. Rachel, got your lovely little dartboard there. Oh, yeah, I've eaten quite a lot of that as well. Surprisingly Moorish. So actually, forget the presents. I thought we could do a little bit of a traditional parlour game.
OK.
It's the one where you get your half-brother to hide a box of dates under a flap of skin. First person to find it wins.
Is hiding a box of dates under a flap of skin really a traditional Christmas parlour game?
Well, it's got to start somewhere, isn't it? Actually, yeah, so John and David, if you would like to join me. Come on, lads. Come on. So, Fabio, if you'd like to hide the box of dates under a flap of my skin. I don't know where it's going to be hidden. I've got no idea. Have you hidden it? OK, take the screen away. OK, Jimmy.
OK. Your time to try and find a box of dates hidden under a flap of skin starts now. I don't think they want to...
Why did you stick it up my arse? Let's like calm down! Come here, you. Oh! Merry Christmas. I'm nice and sweaty.
No, it's more the hair.
The hairs, that's good. Does anyone want one? Good day.
I'm all right, thanks.
Fucking fussy cow.
OK, on with the game. John, Sarah, your turn to choose the letters.
I'll do the vowels.
All right.
We'll have a consonant, please.
I'll let you have that side. So
Yeah, cool.
D.
We'll have another consonant, then.
L.
Let's have another consonant.
H.
OK, Joe. It's your time to shine.
Let's first one. Let's have a look. You've got a. That's lovely. Incredibly Moorish.
Can't wait to see your vowel movements.
OK, letters, go on.
We'll have another vowel, please, one that hasn't been consumed.
O.
And another one, please.
E.
And a consonant, please.
S.
Is anyone else really hot?
Take your shoes off.
We'll have another consonant, please.
R.
And a vowel.
A.
And a vowel.
U.
OK, your time starts now.
Christmas time, don't let the bells end. Christmas time, just let them ring in peace. Oh, Christmas time, don't let the bells end. Christmas time, just let them ring in peace.
OK, how many? Sarah?
6.
6. John?
8.
Ooh. Sean?
8.
David?
7.
7. OK, Sarah, you're 6.
Should.
So, David, what was your 7?
Loaders.
Loaders.
Yeah.
OK. Sean, you had...
Shoulder. Shoulder.
And John?
Shoulder.
8 points to both teams. David O'Doherty, Susie Dent, could they have done any better?
Susie found another 8 roulades. So no better than 8.
All right, so the scores at the moment, John and Sarah have 21, Sean and David have 25. And here is your final teaser. The words are Yule Wind. The clue is, that's a heavy one. That's Yule Wind. That's a heavy one. See you after the break. Welcome back. The answer to the teaser, the words were You'll win. The clue was that's a heavy one. It was, of course, unwieldy. OK, before we go on, as it's Christmas, let's play a quick game of Pull My Cracker. I'll read the first line from a classic Christmas joke. All you have to do is buzz in when you know the punchline. Let's play Pull My Cracker. OK, here's your first one. Why does Santa have 3 gardens?
Crop rotation.
No, Sean?
I think it's only one of them's a garden, the other 2 are elf cemeteries. He works them very hard.
Susie's got it. She's just handed me this. Ho, ho, ho.
So he can ho, ho, ho. Is that right?
That is the correct answer, Susie Dent. OK, next one. Why couldn't the skeleton go to the Christmas party? Sarah.
Because she got out of her skull last time.
Is it because he was a dead body in an advanced state of decomposition?
Are there points on offer for this?
Yes.
Because they had nobody to go with.
Is the right answer. Are there points on offer is the most tragic thing you've ever said. What illness do you get if you eat Christmas decorations?
Tinselitis, if there's points on offer.
OK. What does James Bond eat at Christmas? John. John.
Fastest finger first. It's Christmas pudding. Ding, 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 ding.
Mince spies. Mince spies, Jimmy. Mince spies, mince spies,
Yes.
mince spies.
Yes.
Mince spies,
Yes.
mince spies.
Yes. Mince pies is right. What do Santa's little helpers learn at school?
The alphabet. The alphabet. The alphabet.
So, but your first answer was the...
Alphabet's accent, because I'm from further north.
The alphabet. Yes, that's the correct answer.
Alphabet.
Straight in.
Come on, David.
OK, this is the decider. It's all on this.
Is it?
Why did Santa's grotto get shut down?
Health and safety.
Is the right answer. 5 points to Sean. Time for our final letters game. Sean, David, your turn to choose the letters.
All right, I'll have an F. No, I mean a consonant.
Consonant.
Okay. Consonant.
OK, T-N.
Consonant.
Consonant.
I'll have 2, please.
Number 2. A T.
And another consonant.
A D.
Vowel.
An O.
Vowel.
Oh, I'm knackered. I.
A vowel.
Are you pissing on the board?
Look. Vowel. A vowel. We want a vowel.
There's an S there if you want.
And an S. Lovely.
Yeah, there you go. Plural.
Absolutely lovely.
Make it a plural.
OK, your 30 seconds starts now.
Christmas.
Snow coming down.
Christmas.
I'm watching it fall.
Christmas.
Lots of people around.
Christmas.
Baby, please come home. They're singing Deck the Halls. But it's not like Christmas at all. 'Cause I remember when you were here. And all the fun we had last year.
Christmas.
The countdown got to the choir, everyone. Excellent work. OK, Sean, how many?
Can I just say, I think the asbestos problem in this building.
I've only got 5.
You got a 5.
Yeah.
OK, David?
6.
OK. John?
5.
5.
5. OK. Sarah, what was your 5?
Stink.
Excellent. Stink. OK. John, your 5?
Toast
Toast.
to Christmas.
There's a D on the floor.
Sean, what was your 5?
Toast.
OK. And David?
Dittos.
Dittos.
Is it allowed?
Yes, it is.
We can't get the D off the floor, I'm afraid. Joe has... Oh, no, oh, yeah. Yes, you can do this. You can do this. OK, so that's 6 points for David and Sean.
Yeah, well done.
David, Susie, could they have done any better?
Yes. The Stotinka for 8 points. The monetary unit of Bulgaria is 8 letters.
No way.
OK, so John and Sarah have 21. Sean and David have 36. John, have you got a conundrum cocktail?
Just to get our attention really buzzing, I've got an espresso martini. And what I like to finish mine off with is a shitload of fake snow in there. I've made it with conundrum. Since the... I mean, that's inedible, but I left the lid on, so Merry Christmas.
OK, fingers on buzzers. It's time for today's Countdown Conundrum.
Fuck it.
Policemen.
Well, let's have a look. So the final scores are John and Sarah have 21, but Sean and David are triumphant at Christmas with 46 points. Congratulations, Sean, David, you're now the proud owner of these, the Countdown Christmas dog outfits. Thanks to all our panellists, our wonderful studio audience, and to all of you for watching at home. That's it from us. Good night and Merry Christmas!
3 comedians, no grown-ups, one night locked in Hamleys. Tom Allen, Romesh Ranganathan and Rob Beckett having a sleepover in Britain's biggest toy shop Christmas Eve at 9. And Jimmy Carr will be back, as is David Mitchell, along with Richard Ayoade, who's presenting the Celebrity Crystal Maze next tonight. See, we do think about this stuff sometimes. For the big fat quiz of the year, Boxing Day at 9:05.